Lately I've been playing this free-to-play game called Expedition Agartha. It's pretty fun, and currently 7 classes exist within the game, 6 basic ones, and 1 other called Ascendant. You can freely switch between classes, but you only get to unlock 2 classes for free at the start, and the rest must be unlocked through insight that you can either get through routine quests or buying the supporter pack. Due to this, special care must be taken when it comes to choosing the class you'd end up playing at the start. In this review, I'll show you guys why I think Gallowglass is excellent for starters. So, let's start with skills. The skills of a Gallowglass are geared towards giving the player better performance while in raids, since it has no crafting skills at all. Which is honestly great if you're not the sort of person that wants to bother crafting consumables to be used in battle, and just want to depend mostly on your weapon and active skills for damage. Every skill this class has is helpful, save for 2 that's rather negligible in effect, which are Spirit Bleeding and Bone Crusher. Unless they have min-maxed gear, people tend to die rather quickly in this game. It doesn't help that Galloglass weapons are usually slower in attack speed compared to other classes as well, so the 1% lesser damage may not be significant enough. For active skills, this class has Sweeping Cleave, which is unlocked at the start, and Reckless Pursuit that is unlocked at later levels. Sweeping Cleave is excellent. It lets you do an uninterruptible swing that can hit multiple targets and land hits that you would otherwise not be able to when wielding slower weapons like Maul or Steel Warhammer. It also doesn't cost stamina and lets you do horizontal swings even with stabbing weapons like polearms. Reckless Pursuit, on the other hand, is an active skill that lets you move 50% faster whilst also increases your attack speed by 20% for a limited amount of time, at the cost of taking 50% extra damage. I don't always use this skill in combat, since getting parried while Reckless Pursuit is on is very much a death sentence, but it is great for traversing the map combined with this class's Marathoner skill, which lets you sprint even longer. And that's for skills. For gear, the Gallowglass is the one class that can truly wield 2-handed weapons to its full potential, and they're excellent. My favorites so far would be the Greatsword, Nodachi, and Katana. There is one weapon that I don't like in this category, however, and it is the Steel Warhammer. Steel Warhammer is perhaps the slowest melee weapon in-game, with rather short range yet has great blunt and stamina damage. It's not bad. It's just that I prefer faster weapons that are less likely to be interrupted when swinging. 2-handed weapons in general have less DPS due to slower swing speed than their 1-handed counterparts, but they tend to have superior reach and better stamina damage. Gallowglass can also utilize polearms, but I find these to not be that good since I play in Asia that lacks PvP players most of the time. And polearms are a lot better in PvP since they are good at targeting legs to bypass blocks, yet they have very poor DPS and damage per hit, making them rather uneconomical for PvE. Still, I've heard good things about this class of weapons when used to inflict broken bones or bleed, since they have good attack speed and range, which lets a player with a good sense of distance to just whittle other players down with said broken bones or bleed. You start out the game with a longsword and a bardiche, alongside explosive kunais and firepots. The longsword has the same range and attack speed as the greatsword, just with lesser damage stats. The bardiche, on the other hand, is a blunt polearm, and I tend to just sell this off or drop them in raid, since I'm not very fond of this weapon. The exploding kunais are great for providing an opening, while firepots are useful for area denial to buy time. When you die, you get all of these again. For armor, I find that they are not very useful early on. Armor starts to truly shine when you give them slots and actually have the jewels to augment them. Before that, you either just use certain armor sets for their non-defensive stats like Ghazi that imparts extra loot speed, or light armors like the Viking set for their increased dodge speed and stamina efficiency. The one armor that really feels useful for its protective properties to me at the start would be the Paladin armor set, since heavy armor resists bladed weapons well, and many event mooks in places like Lost Island tend to have sharp polearms, so the blade resistance would actually make a difference. Although you can get away with using no armor in raids, same cannot be said with food. Good food is the difference between life and death, since not only it prevents starvation, it also gives you a great health regen and stat boost for a given time. Sadly, the Gallowglass does not get extra fullness capacity like the Conquistador, but this does not mean food is any less important. And that's all I can say about the Galloglass. Altogether, it's a great class for players who don't plan on crafting, with an emphasis on heavily damaging single hits, crowd control, and mobility. If you guys have any questions about the class, just be sure to comment and I'll try to answer the best I can. Do subscribe if this video was useful or at the very least amusing. And as always, have a great time.